It is a quiet morning. You pour a cup of coffee, look out the kitchen window, and realize there is nowhere you have to be. No one is expecting you. You check your phone. No new messages. The silence of the house feels just a little bit heavier today. For many seniors, this is not just a fleeting mood. It is a permanent weather system. You have not done anything wrong. You are not failing at life, and you certainly are not a burden. You are simply experiencing one of the deepest forms of human ache. But what if you stopped waiting for the phone to ring? Ancient Buddhist wisdom offers a radical shift. This is not about forcing yourself to go out or join a club. It is about transforming your quiet house from a prison of waiting into a peaceful sanctuary, using 5 practices you can start right now from your armchair. Part 1: The Anatomy of Loneliness and the Buddhist concept of Dukkha. Before we dive into the practices, we need to understand the true nature of what you are feeling. American culture worships youth, speed, and endless productivity. When you retire and step away from that fast-paced current, the sudden stillness can feel like hitting a wall. You lose the structure that organized your days, the identity that told you who you were, and the community that saw you every single week. As the years pass, the radius of your daily life shrinks. The United States Surgeon General recently issued a profound advisory. It was not about a new virus or a physical disease. It was about loneliness. The report revealed that the health consequences of chronic loneliness are as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It leads to heart disease, depression, and a shortened life. I share this not to frighten you, but to validate your experience. What you are feeling in that quiet kitchen is not a sign of weakness. It is a genuine, documented wound that deserves a compassionate response. The Buddha had a very specific word for this kind of suffering. He called it Dukkha. While Dukkha is often translated simply as suffering, its true meaning is much deeper. It refers to the subtle, persistent ache of dissatisfaction. It is the fundamental friction of wanting things to be different from how they currently are. Loneliness is dukkha in one of its purest forms. It is the painful gap between the human connection we deeply need and the isolation we are currently experiencing. When we feel this ache, our immediate instinct is to try to fix the external world. We think that if we just had more visitors, if our children called more often, or if we lived closer to family, the pain would magically disappear. But the Buddha taught something radically different. He did not say that finding more friends would end your suffering. He taught that you must change your relationship to the experience itself. You cannot control how often your phone rings. You cannot control the busy lives of your children or the shifting dynamics of your neighborhood. However, you have complete control over how your mind responds to the silence. The Buddhist path is not about eliminating the reality of being alone. It is about removing the second arrow. The first arrow is the physical reality of isolation. The second arrow is the story we tell ourselves about it, the story that we are forgotten, unlovable, or invisible. By understanding dukkha, we learn to stop shooting ourselves with that second arrow. We learn to sit with the silence without letting it destroy us. Let us look at exactly how to do that. Part 2. Practice 1. Anapanasati, grounding the time-traveling mind. When you are living alone, the silence rarely stays silent for long. The mind rushes in to fill the space. And what does it fill it with? It replays old conversations, turning over regrets and moments you wish had gone differently. It projects into the future, creating anxious scenarios. You might wonder if anyone will notice if something happens to you. You might wonder if this is just how it will be from now until the end. The human mind, left entirely to itself in isolation, can become a very unkind place to live. This time-traveling habit of the mind is the true engine of your loneliness. To stop this exhausting mental time travel, the Buddha taught a foundational practice known as Anapanasati. This translates simply to mindfulness of breathing. It is so essential that the Buddha considered it the direct path to inner peace. It is not a beginner technique that you outgrow. It is the core anchor you will return to for the rest of your life. Here is how you practice it right now. You do not need a special meditation cushion, and you do not need to sit in a complicated posture. Simply sit in your favorite armchair, keep your back reasonably straight, and let your hands rest in your lap. Bring your full attention to the sensation of your breath. You are not trying to breathe deeply or control the rhythm. You are just observing it. As you breathe in, silently note to yourself that you are breathing in. As you breathe out, note that you are breathing out. Your mind will inevitably wander. It will happen within the first 10 seconds. You will start thinking about groceries, a doctor appointment, or why your daughter has not called. When this happens, do not judge yourself. This is simply what minds do. The moment you realize you have drifted away, you have already woken up. Gently guide your attention back to the physical feeling of the air moving through your nose, or the rise and fall of your chest. Why is this simple act the ultimate antidote to the torture of isolation? Because loneliness does not actually live in the present moment. Loneliness lives in the story of what used to be and what might never be again. The breath, by contrast, can only happen right now. Every single time you return your attention to this exact inhale and this exact exhale, you are stepping out of the painful story and stepping back into your actual life. In this precise second, as you take a breath, you are alive, you are breathing, you are safe. The room around you is solid. In the pure present moment, there is no loneliness, there is only life. Part 3, Practice 2, Sati, reclaiming the sacredness of ordinary time. Tell me if this daily rhythm sounds familiar. You wake up, make breakfast, watch some television, eat lunch, perhaps take a nap, eat dinner, and go to bed. At the end of the day, you feel as though nothing real actually happened. You feel as though you were just trying to get through the hours rather than truly living them. Chronic loneliness has a devastating effect on how we experience time. It hollows out our days, creating a sensation that we are just killing time, waiting for something to happen. The Buddhist practice of Sati, or mindfulness in daily life, offers a profound cure for this emptiness. Sati is the clear, unhurried comprehension of exactly what you are doing while you are doing it. It teaches us that you do not need an audience to make a moment matter. Consider the story of a retired gentleman living alone in Florida. After his wife passed away, he told his friends he felt like a ghost haunting his own house. His days were a blur of television and microwave meals. A teacher advised him to pick just one daily activity and do it with complete, absolute presence. He chose his morning tea. Instead of rushing through the process while watching the morning news, he turned it into a daily ceremony. He felt the weight of the kettle, listened to the sound of the boiling water, and watched the steam rise. He sat on his porch, holding the warm mug with both hands, feeling the morning breeze on his face. He later shared that during those 10 minutes, he was not a lonely widower. He was not waiting for the phone to ring. He was simply a man drinking tea, and it was deeply beautiful. This is the power of Sati. Choose one activity today. It could be washing the dishes, folding your laundry, watering a houseplant, or eating a slice of toast. Give it your entire attention. Feel the textures, smell the aromas, and inhabit your physical body. One of the cruelest tricks loneliness plays on us is making us believe our lives only count when someone else is witnessing them. We start to believe that being alone means being absent from our own existence. Sati shatters that illusion. It reminds you that this moment, right here, is sacred. When you fully engage with the simplest tasks, you discover a profound sense of completeness. The Buddhists have a powerful concept for this feeling. It is the realization of enough. When you are fully present, this quiet morning is enough. This cup of tea is enough. You, exactly as you are, sitting in your quiet house, are enough. Before we explore the next profound practice, I want to take a brief moment to invite you into our gentle community. If these words are bringing peace to your quiet house today, please consider subscribing to Buddha Coha. We share ancient wisdom and healing stories to help you navigate the later chapters of life with a calm and open heart. By joining Buddha Coha, you ensure that you never have to walk this path entirely alone. We would be honored to have you with us. Now, let us look at the third practice, a remarkable way to generate warmth when the world around you feels cold. Part 4, Practice 3, Metta, generating warmth when the world feels cold. When you are deeply lonely, you are almost always in a state of waiting. You wait for the mail to arrive. You wait for the holidays to bring a brief visit. You wait for someone to simply remember you. This endless waiting becomes a psychological prison because the outcome is entirely out of your hands. You are essentially placing the keys to your own peace inside someone else's pocket. The Buddhist practice of metta, widely known as loving kindness, turns this dynamic completely upside down. Instead of sitting in the dark waiting for someone to bring you a torch, you learn how to strike the match yourself. Metta is not about receiving love. It is about actively generating it. Modern neuroscience has actually caught up to what Buddhist monks have known for thousands of years. Brain imaging shows that the human nervous system does not fully distinguish between receiving warmth and giving it. When you actively generate feelings of goodwill toward others, your brain releases oxytocin and dopamine. These are the same neurochemicals that flood your system when someone gives you a tight hug or tells you they love you. You literally heal your own heart by wishing well for others. Here is how you practice metta from your chair. Close your eyes and take a soft breath. Begin by directing goodwill toward yourself. Silently repeat these 4 phrases in your mind. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. Say the words slowly. You might not feel genuinely happy right now, and that is perfectly fine. You are simply planting a seed. Once you have offered these words to yourself, you expand the circle. Think of a neighbor down the street. You do not even need to know their name. Picture their face and silently say, "May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease." Then expand it further. Think of the woman at the grocery store checkout line, the local mail carrier, or the child you saw riding a bicycle on the sidewalk. Eventually, push that feeling out to your entire city and then to the whole world, including all the other people sitting alone in quiet houses just like yours. There was an old woman in Texas who felt entirely cut off from the world after moving to a new town. She started practicing metta every morning for 10 minutes. Weeks later, she said that a profound shift had happened. She found herself smiling warmly at strangers in the pharmacy, and they were smiling back. She had reopened an emotional channel inside herself. By sending love outward, she shattered the illusion of her own isolation. You are no longer standing on the shore waiting for a rescue boat. You are already swimming in the water of human connection. Part 5. Practice 4. Mudita, the antidote to the poison of comparison. Now we must talk about the shadow side of isolation, something very few people are willing to admit out loud. If you have been alone for a long time, you probably know the exact sting I am about to describe. You open a social media app and see a photograph of an old friend on a cruise, surrounded by their laughing grandchildren. Or you look out your window and see a family across the street gathering for a loud, joyful Sunday barbecue. In that moment, your chest tightens. A small, ashamed but very real voice inside you whispers, "Why them and not me?" You feel a flash of resentment. Please know that this is not a character flaw. It is a deeply human response to pain. When you are starving for connection, watching other people feast can feel unbearable. However, this quiet bitterness becomes a secondary disease. It acts like a poison in your bloodstream. You are already suffering from loneliness, and now you are carrying the heavy, exhausting weight of envy. Bitterness builds a thick brick wall around your heart, making sure that even if a connection tries to reach you, it cannot get through. The Buddhist antidote to this poison is a beautiful and challenging practice called Mudita. Mudita translates to sympathetic joy. It is the deliberate practice of rejoicing in the happiness of others. When you see that picture of the happy family on vacation, you do not quickly scroll past it in pain. Instead, you pause, look at their smiling faces, and consciously tell yourself, "May your happiness continue. May your joy grow." I will be completely honest with you. At first, this will feel incredibly difficult. It might even feel fake. Your ego will fight against it because your ego wants to protect its own pain. But you practice mudita the same way you practice playing a scale on a piano. You press the keys not because it sounds like a masterpiece yet, but because you are building muscle memory. Over time, something miraculous happens. The bitterness begins to lose its grip on your mind. You realize that there is no limited supply of happiness in the universe. Someone else's joy does not subtract from yours. By celebrating their light, you allow a little bit of that warmth to radiate into your own life. Every time you choose mudita over envy, you are unlocking the door to your own freedom. Part 6. Practice 5. Dana, breaking the illusion of uselessness. Perhaps the heaviest burden of aging in a fast-paced society is the creeping sense of uselessness. When you no longer have a career and your children no longer need your daily help to survive, a quiet voice inside your mind might tell you that your time of contributing to the world is over. You might start to feel like an unneeded burden. This brings us to the 5th major practice. It is called dana, the practice of generosity and giving. Now, you might be thinking that you are on a fixed income and you simply do not have extra money to give away. But dana was never primarily about financial wealth. The Buddha taught that true generosity is a condition of the open heart, and there are 3 distinct ways you can practice it right now, regardless of your bank account. The first is material giving, which can cost almost nothing. You could bake a small batch of cookies and leave them by the door for your mail carrier. You could leave a bag of birdseed on the porch of a neighbor who enjoys watching the birds. Small, thoughtful gestures carry massive emotional weight. The second form is the gift of your time and presence. Think of someone else you know who is also sitting in a quiet house today. Pick up the phone and call them. Do not call them to complain about your own aches and pains. Call them simply to ask how they are doing and truly listen to them. Be the friend you wish you had. The third form is perhaps the most important for elders in our society. The Buddha called it the gift of Dharma, or the gift of wisdom. You have survived decades on this earth. You have faced heartbreak, profound loss, great joy, and personal failure. You possess a vast library of earned human wisdom. Write a letter to your grandchild, sharing a lesson you had to learn the hard way. Record a voice message telling a funny story from your youth that your family has never heard. Here is the profound secret of Dana. Every act of giving completely shatters the illusion that you are useless and disconnected. You step out of the tragic story of the forgotten elder and step into the empowering role of a benefactor. When you give, you are declaring to the universe that you are still here, you have immense value, and you are actively connected to the web of life. The deep loneliness that says nobody needs me simply cannot survive a week of intentional, active giving. Part 7. Bonus Practice. Upekkha, the power of radical acceptance. To tie all of these life-changing practices together, there is one final concept to hold gently in your heart. It is called Upekkha, which translates roughly to equanimity or radical acceptance. Life is strictly governed by the law of impermanence. Seasons change, children grow up and move away to build their own lives, and our physical bodies inevitably slow down. Much of our deepest emotional suffering comes from demanding that the current season of our life look exactly like the previous one. Upekkha is the practice of gracefully accepting the reality of right now. It is the quiet understanding that the vibrant, noisy years of raising a busy family were beautiful, and the still, quiet years of your current life can also hold their own distinct, peaceful beauty. When you finally stop fighting the changing seasons, a profound and lasting peace naturally settles over your entire mind. Part 8. Conclusion. Turning the prison into a sanctuary. Your quiet house does not have to be a prison. By practicing mindful breathing to anchor your racing thoughts, bringing clear awareness to your daily tasks, generating loving kindness from within, finding joy in the happiness of others, and offering your earned wisdom to the world, you transform that space into a sacred personal sanctuary. You stop waiting to be saved from your loneliness, and you begin to actively inhabit your own beautiful breathing life. I invite you to choose just one of these practices tomorrow morning. See how it slowly changes the air in your room. If these words brought you any comfort today, please share them with someone else who might be sitting in their own quiet house, waiting for a simple reminder that they are seen, they are valued, and they are not alone.